Hi, I'm Dave Wurzel, and you're watching PHTV4 Spotlight. Today's Spotlight is on an organization, AFS, Intercultural Programs, USA. And to learn about what AFS is and what they do, we've got a volunteer with us, Barb Kelly. She's been with AFS for a number of years. She's a retired teacher, and now she helps make this program happen in our area. Barb, thank you for being here today.
No, thank you for letting me talk about AFS.
Oh, it sounds like a wonderful organization, a wonderful program. And so AFS is involved in a lot of things. Maybe more typically we think of exchange students, between the U.S. and other countries, whether U.S. students going to another country or students from another country come to the U.S. But it does more than that. We're going to talk about that and find out about all the things it does. Barb, but you've been a volunteer for a while. Can you tell us your background specifically and how you got started with AFS?
Okay, I've actually been a volunteer for over 25 years.
Wow.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's probably longer than some people have had careers, right?
Possibly. How it started is I have 4 children, and my 2 oldest are twins, and one was taking Spanish, one was taking French, and my one son came home. The one that was taking French came home and said, "Madame wants to talk with you." And I'm like, okay. And
he's going to get in trouble.
Yeah, he's like, "I'm not in trouble." I'm like, okay. So when Madame talked with me, she told me about a French student that was supposed to be coming to the States, but they couldn't find a host family. And so we talked it over with our family, and at first we said, maybe not. We have 4 children. And that would be 5 in high school at the time. Let's think about that. So what happened is that later on, she contacted us again and said, "We still need a family for this student, and would you consider being a welcome family?" A welcome family hosts a student for approximately 8 weeks, 2 months, and at that time it gives the AFS a chance to find another family. And so anyway, we agreed to that. Our first student was Guillaume from France, and he came. And after a week, it was definite. He was staying. It was a match made in heaven type of thing. And from then, at the end of his year, I asked him, I said, "What would have made this year better for you?" And he said, "If there were more exchange students in the area." Well, after that, I became very involved with trying to find more students for the area. And we have found students, but then COVID hit, and unfortunately, it took a toll. Probably the biggest reason was because families were afraid if a student caught COVID while they were here, their responsibility as far as medical and stuff. And they were just worried. So anyway, slowly but surely, we're coming back. And this year was kind of a slight little whatever, but hopefully we'll be back up to par. We are part of the Greater Chicago area team, which extends from the Wisconsin border in the north to just a little bit south of I-80 on the south, of course, Lake Michigan on the east, and then all the way in the west to the Fox River.
Okay, that is a large area. I mean, locally a large area. And it's interesting you're talking about, so you had the personal experience that kind of drew you into AFS.
Correct.
Sounds like you found out it was a tremendously positive experience, in this case, hosting a student. So that's the exchange part of it. Can you elaborate? We started to talk about, you mentioned earlier when we were talking, AFS does a lot more than just foster exchange students between the U.S. and other countries. What else does AFS do?
In addition to hosting, I have, like I said, 3 sons. All 3 have gone abroad now. The oldest, Nick, went to London, where he actually met up with Guillaume in France. That was another story. And Casey went to Australia on what they call the Outward Bound program. That's where it's physical challenges, etc. And then my youngest, Bill, not only went to Japan with a school exchange, but he also went back to Australia for a semester. So I've had the experience of both hosting and sending.
Okay. Now, so it is U.S. students going to other countries, in addition to obviously them coming here. But AFS also does things with teachers and other organizations.
Definitely,
as well.
We are not just a hosting, sending organization. We work with teachers several aspects. Number one, we have resources where teachers. We have like lesson plans on how teachers can incorporate international education into their curriculum. They have a program where various countries you'll have like a host teacher, and that host teacher and our teacher do exchanges via Zoom, and they more or less talk about how something would be presented in their country, such as, let me think, like say, like a cooking episode, like how they would do cooking and how we would show it with our students, type of thing.
Right, just some type of lesson plan, whatever,
Exactly.
whether you're teaching a story or some event or science, probably,
Right.
any of it.
They also have teacher exchanges where the teachers can go overseas, and then one of their teachers will come back and be with us for probably like 6 weeks at the most. So it is interesting.
So, I'm going to mention that I definitely would encourage people to think about, teachers or young people out there, the possibility of some type of exchange program. It sounds like there's a variety of options out there. Let's talk about the student part of it next. If a student wants to apply for this, they're a student in high school, I take it that's the age range, right?
Correct. 15 to 18.
15, 18 years old. How do they go about applying? What's involved in that process?
Okay, many people think about exchanges, but they really don't know like where to go, how to contact it. So sometimes they go online and they Google exchange students, and AFS comes up and they start reading about it. One of the first things they would do would be to fill out an application. From there, our offices in New York send out the info to us locally, where we can interview the student to see how much motivated they really are to go. And from there, they can apply. They can apply for some financial assistance. We have several major scholarship opportunities. I'm going to list them a little bit later on. But just recently, one of our alumnus, I guess you'd call them, has contributed over $1 million. And this is to help. It's not just necessarily to give a full ride to one particular student, but to help give them the incentive to, like, say they can't afford the whole fee, so give them a partial fee or assistance to go.
So it sounds like the scholarships are either part need-based, I'm guessing merit-based.
Merit-based also, right. Yes, correct.
I guess we have to be thankful for that kind of generosity. That's wonderful. Right. And obviously, if he's an alumnus of it, that's someone who had a very positive experience and wants to see others have that same type.
Oh, yeah.
So it speaks very well to the organization. So one way AFS, so you take these applications, maybe somebody gets a scholarship, and what other ways does AFS assist a student or a young person in that process?
All right, we have, once the student has committed, et cetera, et cetera.
Or coming here for that matter.
Oh, for coming here. Well, both ways. We have
Right.
orientation programs for the kids. We have orientation for the students going abroad. One of the activities that's included in our sending program is each student is asked to bring a bag lunch for the day. And so once they get there, the bag lunches are all put into like a big countertop, whatever, and students are asked to pick up a bag to have their lunch. So they have no idea what they're going to be having for lunch, but it gives us an idea to see how open and how willing they are to accept, to try new things.
It is funny, that's that little thing, not that we take it for granted, but when you go to a foreign country, you're not necessarily going to get to eat what you normally get to eat.
Correct, correct. Yeah. So that's one of the things. And then we have, oh my gosh, we have an extensive support system. Okay, I'm going to just talk like, it works both ways. If you're a sending student or if you're a hosted student, in your country, the student comes, they have a liaison. A liaison is like, I would refer to them as a aunt or an uncle, or in my case, a grandma. And they can go to that person and say, hey, look, something's not quite right. I don't feel comfortable about this. The liaison works with the student to talk through the situation. Then they talk with the host family, and they come to some sort of agreement. If that doesn't settle the situation, then they have another layer of support. And then we have our New York support, who contacts the exchange country. They have a support situation, so it trickles back and forth where we have everybody. I want to give you an example of one of our support cases, because it actually involved a student here in the Palos Heights area.
Well, I was going to say, this is you're talking about somebody who may have traveled, several thousand,
right.
maybe 10,000 miles to get somewhere, and then, all right, how do things work while they're here?
Right.
Because they're so far from home.
He was far from home, And he said, I really, he was very uncomfortable at first to mention. He says, but the dog smells. I go, what? They had a pet,
Right.
and the dog smelled. And I said, well, maybe you could offer to give the dog a bath. He went back, he asked his host parents if he could do that. They were elated. He enjoyed giving the dog a bath. He and the dog were best partners. He wanted to take the dog back home with him when he left, but no, we didn't let that happen.
And that probably wasn't in the application
No,
process.
no.
It's a part of the interview.
Right. I can say from experience, my own son was in Australia, and here's, I live in Oak Lawn, and, suburb Oak Lawn boy, in Australia was shearing sheep. It's like, what? Yeah. But I mean, that's one of his favorite pictures. I mean, here he is with the shears shearing sheep. Yeah.
Right, regular experience,
Correct.
how people are living.
Right.
And I know we talked earlier, there's a foreign exchange student placed who's living with a host family in Palos Heights, and he's attending STAG, and it's a regular family. And there's, he's having that kind of regular life experience here while he's going to high school. So
we considered a family school situation. It's not like a Club Med where you get to travel all around the country.
It's not a vacation.
No, not a vacation. And we have kids placed everywhere in the United States.
And we've started talking about this. This is going to be my next question. I mean, what would you say is, maybe I guess it sounds as to kind of clarify, what are the benefits to the study abroad? To me, it sounds like a great thing, but why is it something that a person should consider?
Okay, I just mentioned my son that went to Australia. When he came back, every university that he applied to accepted him, and primarily because they knew that he could be independent, self-reliant, open to new experiences, an open mind, problem solving, correct, being able to. Plus, they are goodwill ambassadors for us and the other country, and our students are goodwill ambassadors too. When you hear of something happening like, I believe there was like a tornado that hit someplace on the south side. I got so many emails from my former students, are you okay, are you okay? Because you have a real relationship there. It's not just sightseeing and,
you bring up some really interesting points there, that this is, number one, they're getting an education when they go do the exchange thing, but they're also getting like a life education that we talk about all the time, how important that is, but when you immerse yourself in some other country, you're working life skills that you're really not going to work while you're at home, or not to the same in the same way. The other thing I want to ask about, because we kind of talked about, you mentioned the donor before. AFS, I believe, is a type of nonprofit.
It's a 501c.
So you're dependent on, I'm guessing, like a variety of grants or donations.
Correct.
And then even in the case of host families, you mentioned you need host families. So I guess that's what I ask about next. If somebody wants to either donate or volunteer or be a host family, how do they go about that?
There again, go to the website, www.afsusa.org.
Okay.
And I mean, first screen that comes up, it asks if you want sending, hosting, volunteer, donating. You got a whole...
All the options are there.
Options are right there.
It sounds like a wonderful organization that's providing a lot of great assistance to a variety of people in a variety of ways. Young people, but also teachers, the educational experience alone. I think about being a host family, what that would be like. Like in your case, you were talking to actually host somebody from another country and developing those relationships. Is there any other information you want to share, or we need to make sure that people are aware of?
In November 13th through the 17th is International Education Week. And one of the things that I wanted to offer to people right now, because they are totally unaware of it, it's a scholarship program. There's like 3 of them that are very important. The student you mentioned is here on what we call a YES program, that's Youth Educational Exchange Program. And it was founded by Kennedy after Kennedy Lugar Scholarship. And what it provides for kids, it's a full merit-based scholarship. This is the time right now to apply for it. You fill out an essay, you get interviewed, then the interview goes through another process where there's like a second interview, and then I believe there's even maybe possibly a third interview, and you're chosen. And then you get to go to countries where their language is not necessarily taught in our schools, such as Hindu, Korean, Russian, Mandarin, all the different languages that we don't
I was just saying,
offer.
I think I saw maybe on your website, like you work with 90 countries.
Correct.
Okay, so I mean, that's a huge,
Right.
all over the world.
You're right. And these kids that go, they go on full scholarship, full rides. And the student that you were talking about that's here, he's on a full scholarship too. Once they're there, they're expected to do 6 activities, which are in either the areas of diversity, indigenous people, volunteerism, and government, politics. And we as volunteers provide activities and events for them to fulfill these events, these requirements type of thing. Another scholarship is the Congress Bundestag Exchange. That's a scholarship program between just the United States and Germany. And that is for kids to go back and forth. It's kind of like for kids that are, I've hosted 4 of those kids already, but they are here learning about our political system. In fact, my husband and I once, we went to Germany for the wedding of one of our host daughters.
Wow.
And then while we were there, we visited another one of our host sons. And his dad arranged for us to go up into the Bundestag government building. Wow, what an experience that was. So that was kind of really great. And then the new one. Oh, the new one. I got to tell you about the new one. It's called Faces of America. And this is for our students that come from, it's a diversity program that ensures access for all of American students who have an opportunity to go abroad. And there again, they have to apply, they get interviewed, and then if they're awarded the scholarship, they can go abroad. Not all of these scholarships are for the full year. Some are for just maybe 2 months in the summer, a semester, or for a whole year.
Okay. Well, it sounds like there's a wide variety of some tremendous opportunities. And I do want to mention, because I saw it on the website, you mentioned it earlier, AFS, this organization has been around for a while. Congratulations. I think you're celebrating 75 years.
75 years, and I've been with them for 25 of those.
All right. Congratulations. You've been with them a third of the time.
I sure have.
Congratulations, Barb, to you specifically, and also to AFS. 75 years, obviously doing a wonderful service, for this country and students around the world. So thank you, and good luck. Continue
Thank you.
work.
I appreciate it. Thank you for letting me have the chance to talk about something I'm kind of passionate about.
Oh, no, I can tell. It sounds like a great thing to be passionate about. So
Yeah.
thanks again, Barb.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Dave Wurzel, and you've been watching PHTV4 Spotlight. Today's Spotlight has been on AFS, Intercultural Programs USA, an organization that is involved in student exchange programs and teacher education programs. Thank you for watching.